What is going on, friends? In this lesson, I'm going to dive into Itertools, a standard Python library for efficient looping. As a standard library, you don't need to install anything to use it. You use this library to work with iterators. An iterator is any Python object that implements these two special methods, next and iter. You use the iter function to turn an iterable into an iterator, and the next function to get the next element in the iterator. I recommend understanding both iterators and generators before watching this video. I have a video explaining these two concepts in Python. The Itertools module is a collection of memory-efficient functions that allow us to work with iterators. I'm going to try my best to provide real use cases for each function. Without any delay, let's get started. The groupby function is used to group similar items together. In most messaging apps, messages are categorized by date. We have a list of messages that we want to group by dates. Let's make use of the groupby function. Itertools.groupby. We need to pass the iterable and the key. The key should be a function that computes the group category. The iterable is initial messages, and the key is going to be a function that computes the group category. We are going to use a lambda function, message, which is the parameter. The key should be the dates in the message. So we want to pick the dates. The groupby function returns an iterator containing a specific key and the associated values. So we can say for dates, messages in itertools.groupby, grouped message.append, date is going to be the specific date, and the messages is going to be the messages for that date. Now let's print the grouped messages on the screen. Print grouped messages. Let's run the program to see the outputs. The first date is today, and we have the associated messages. Let's convert the messages into a list. Now let's run the program again. So we have all the messages for today. As you can see, the messages are grouped by the dates. The count function can serve as a counter. It takes two optional arguments, the start and the step. The start parameter specifies where the counter should begin. By default, the start value is 0. I'm going to set the start value to be 1. We can use the next function to get the next count. Print next of counter. Next of counter. Now let's run the program to see the output. 1, 2, 3. You should be careful when using a for loop with the counter. It can lead to an infinite loop if you don't break out of it. Let's try out a for loop on the counter. For I in counter, print I. Now let's run the program. As you can see, this is an infinite loop. We need to terminate the program. One way to avoid this infinite loop is to break out. If I equals 5, break out of the loop. Now let's run the program again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Immediately I equals 5, we break out of the loop. You can use this counter to assign unique identifiers to items. Next, we have the cycle function. The cycle function is a tool for creating infinite loops. It keeps repeating a sequence over and over. You can use it for room allocation where you have a fixed set of rooms. The first person is assigned to the first room, the second person to the second room, and so on. When we reach the end of the list, it starts over again. Let's call the next function 4 times. Now let's run the program. Room 1, room 2, room 3. As you can see, it starts from the beginning when we get to the end of the list. Next on my list is the chain function. The chain function returns elements from the first iterable and then proceeds to the next iterable. A common use case for the chain function is combining multiple lists into a single iterable. We are using a for loop on the iterator, but we can also make use of the next function, A, B, C, D, E, F. Now let's use the next function. So let's call the next function. Let's run the program. A, B, C. The repeat function returns the same object over and over. The first argument is the object to repeat, and the second argument is the number of repetitions. If the number of times is not specified, it runs indefinitely. 5 is expected to be repeated twice. Let's try it out. 5, 5. Next on my list is the compress function. You use the compress function to filter out items that are true. The first argument you pass is the data, and the second argument is the selectors. So the function returns elements from the data where the corresponding element in the selector is true. Let's run the program to see the output. As you can see, only the first element is returned because the corresponding value in the selector is true. Let's make the second element to be true. True. Let's run the program again. A, B. We can also use 0 and 1. 1. Let's run the program. It works. Moving on, we have the product function. You use the product function to find all possible combinations of 2 or more iterables. White jeans, white shorts, black jeans, black shorts. Let's run the program. White jeans, white shorts, black jeans, black shorts. Next, we have combination and permutations. If you care about the order of items, then permutations is what you need. It gives all possible arrangements of a set of items. If you want to learn more about other functions, you can check the link to the documentation in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.